Let's react to the most common financial advice given to real estate agents. My name is Ryan. I'm a 31-year-old real estate agent on the journey to become a millionaire. I've sold roughly $30 million worth of real estate so far this year, and it is July 5th. My net worth is currently around $350,000, and I'm taking you on this journey with me to get to $1 million via selling real estate. Okay, the most common advice that I hear is to set aside a minimum of 30% from every single sale commission that you make. This is obviously solid advice. It is for taxes. If you don't set aside taxes, you are going to be royally screwed, okay? Now you can set up to pay taxes quarterly, which I do recommend. It feels a lot better to pay them quarterly in smaller lump sums than one massive payment at the end. This piece of advice is also the hardest because when you get a fat commission check, it is so difficult to transfer 30% into another account. Another common piece of advice is to keep 3 to 6 months of your bills in some sort of saving account, preferably one that collects interest, a high yield saving account that doesn't penalize you from taking from it, because that money will continually grow. One of the biggest financial hacks is when you can dip into that 3 to 6 months of savings to pay off your taxes. Like if you're gaining interest on the 3 to 6 months of savings, after 3 to 5 years, you can start taking that interest that you've collected from that bank account and start applying that to your taxes, AKA that is free money. And also, you don't want to get stuck. So many agents bow out of the industry because they run out of money, not because they're a bad real estate agent. And you've got to protect yourself from doing so. Okay, a terrible piece of advice that I heard recently was fake it till you make it. You've got $1 million showing, so go rent the Lexus, right? Not true. While you do want to look professional, at the same time, you're gonna end up in a tax bracket and something called lifestyle creep, where you continually pay more money than you bring in. And you're gonna start to fall in love with that lifestyle and then not be able to afford it, which is gonna cause burnout. Also, people that have a lot of money don't really care what other people think. Therefore, drive whatever car you want to. Wear whatever wear something professional, but you don't have to wear the Gucci flip-flops to the showing. Another piece of advice I don't like is to reward yourself every time you sell a house. Listen, I'm all about rewarding yourself, but at the same time, if you do it every single time you get a sale, you're going to run out of money. Instead, invest it. Now, another solid piece of advice is to invest in the industry, right? You should be investing in real estate. After all, if you invest yourself, then you can give that advice to another investor and you can learn through the process. However, something that I do not recommend is investing all of your money into real estate, and here's why. While I love the real estate industry, I do not want to put all of my eggs in one basket. After all, my career is in the basket of real estate. My investments are in the basket of real estate. If the real estate industry, for whatever reason, goes kaput, I don't want all of my eggs in one basket. So I do invest in the stock market, high yield bonds, Roth IRAs, etc. A piece of advice that I am going to agree with, but only with a caveat. That is to buy portal leads like Zillow and Realtor.com. Listen, don't come at me, okay? I don't think you should buy Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads if you do not have the systems to convert them, because woof, it can go downhill quickly. Also, if you do buy portal leads, you have to track the data and know that if you're converting at a high level. If you aren't converting at a high level, you're gonna go broke really quickly. You also should not rely on portal leads for the majority of your business. Portal leads should make up maybe 5 to 15% of your business. If it ends up representing 70% or more, then you are stuck, friend, because you are just gonna continue to pay more to do more, and that's not gonna work. You're gonna eventually scale up to spending $50,000 to $60,000 a month on lead gen, and then when you don't have the agents to cover it or the time, etc., you're screwed really quickly. Another good piece of advice is creating an LLC and paying yourself a salary from said LLC. This has huge tax savings because you are paying taxes on the salary that you are providing yourself. Therefore, you don't have to pay as much on the actual commission piece of your income. My last piece of advice here, if you end up being successful in real estate, you need to make sure you still have a budget and you follow that budget. Here's why. One of the biggest pieces of advice that I was ever given from a real estate mentor of mine is to not let lifestyle creep come into your life. What that means is basically as you start to make more, you then start to spend more on a monthly average. By all means, if you want to change in lifestyle, that's great, but just make sure you're not changing your lifestyle at the same pace that your monthly income is coming in, because the real estate industry is so volatile. And the last thing you want to do is create this crazy lifestyle that you're obsessed with, that you are in love with, that then gets snatched away from you because you aren't making as much money when there's a slower month, because guess what? There will be a slower month. This is why 50% of everything I make after I take my taxes out goes into investments, because I eventually want to set up my life to the point where I'm living off those investments in real estate becomes extra money. That way I know exactly the amount of money that I can spend on a monthly basis and therefore craft my lifestyle around it. Last piece of advice that I was given that I regret is your network is your net worth. Spend as much money as you can on your clients and past clients in order for them to continue to refer you business. While I understand the sentiment of this, it does not require money to celebrate your past clients. Simple things like birthday cards, pop bys to say hello, written letters will do the job, especially phone calls, text messages. You remembering a specific birthday or a holiday like an anniversary or a kid's birthday goes way beyond some oyster roast that you spent $15,000 putting on. I hope you enjoyed that advice. I need to work on this a little bit more to get this looking aesthetic. But nonetheless, if you want to follow along my journey of becoming a millionaire via selling real estate, subscribe, like, and let me know below in the comments what advice you've gotten that has either been really good or really freaking terrible.